Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Kendo, of course, here to bring you a game that comes from March 12th. That would be the March Open Qualifiers, and I do have a guest commentator with me. You've seen this guy on the channel, or maybe I should say heard, because we're always just a voice here. But that would be Kanashii. Please say hi to everybody right about now.
Hello, everybody. We are back together, surprisingly, and we're going to have an amazing game between 1000 Dreams and Sandra's Cheeky Children. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these two teams face off against each other.
That's right. I think that they're mostly going to be even. You know, you can't always just predict. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the match is going to be like. But these teams just in general, I think most of the time you could consider that. Did just want to say, of course, with that, it's probably pretty obvious, but this being an open qualifiers, March 12th, that would be before the Duraludon introduction, before kind of that patch that came with that. So that's just one thing to note as we see, you know, there may not be a whole lot of differences in these Pokemon's gameplay, maybe Lucario and stuff, but other than that, yeah, we're here. We're seeing that, what is it, Kanashii? About a 1-1-3, it looks like, of course. Charmander taking that central area, and then that would be for purple, and for orange we have Gardevoir.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting rollout. You do see the Greedent up at top lane. Usually we've seen in some of the Japanese meta and other metas in general where the Greedent is actually playing in mid and just rushing to the enemy jungle. So this is one of those things that you have to take into consideration every single time that you play. You never know where Greedent is actually going to end up laning. And if it happens to be your lane, you're going to have a pretty hard time trying to bring down the squirrel.
Yeah, it's the annoying play, right, when you have to go up against it. And I know that actually very nice securing that KO pretty early here from Crosshand TTV, we should say. All the points right now are, though, from those top path Pokemon. So Lucario for purple, for instance, you know, Sandra Cheeks right there as Greedent. Scoring 23 that early is pretty nice, and so that's the thing about Greedent. You can just keep on chunking in these little 1, 3, 5, you know, these smaller point deposits and just rapidly. And so good job for them. I guess putting the now Kirlia, but the Gardevoir player on Sandra's Cheeky Children, I'm wondering how this is going to run, because Gardevoir is one of those Pokemon, especially when you've got like Charizard on the other team that could possibly go up against it as those jungle players. You know, how's this going to affect things? And it could go either way, right? You've got to be very good at aiming with that Gardevoir. You're going to be running that Future Sight most likely, of course. So, you know, it's all about, can you aim this right? Look at this. Nice little stare down in the grass here that they don't realize.
Yeah, they are literally right next to each other. He's going to check the other side.
There it is.
He's going to be able to get that first hit in, and that's the tough part about the Gardevoir play, is you have to usually play from distance. You see the hyperspace hole coming out from both teams, just going to be able to send him back home and back into the fray. So we'll see if that ends up becoming a play. I know that both teams are running Hoopa, as we saw with hyperspace hole. Is that going to allow them to rotate either everybody down probably for the first Dreadnaw? And we'll see if that does happen and if the teams are going to try to go for it that way.
Yeah, you have to have that balance, right, with the hyperspace hole, because that is something that they did right before the bees, so it did kind of set you up. Hey, if there was any kind of damage for you, this Wigglytuff on purple has now used it several times, so 1000 Dreams definitely making use of that. That'd be Professor Scam right there, and it looks like Greedent coming in because we now have this bottom path with Dreadnaw. That means that there's going to be a nice little team fight going on right here.
Yeah, they are starting to get ready for this, as it's going to be going down to 1000 Dreams, and they're going to continue on with the pressure, already bringing down the Blissey and the Ivysaur. They're trying to look for even more now and trying to take away Sandra's Cheeky Children any chance that they could have had to maybe get a little bit more out of this, and they're still applying more pressure. Lunchbox dropping dangerously low, as the Kirlia is going to be able to land that first Moonblast. But we'll see if the teams start rotating up back to top, and if this fight is going to continue, as you see the hyperspace hole actually sending people back to top now.
That was really interesting, too, with the Dreadnaw, like really the post-Dreadnaw fight and stuff, because you saw 1000 Dreams, they really had the positioning down, it seemed like, and then you just noticed all their players after that, it's like quickly being brought down so low. They were each within, you know, that crosshand TV, like Lucario right here, was really within just like sneezing distance. He would have fallen from like a sneeze or a cough, you know what I mean? That's how low they were. Anyway, we have this next set of Bs, but it was just good that Orange was able to kind of turn that one around when it didn't look so hot at the beginning. So Rotom is kind of our next objective that we have the eyes on, next major thing happening in this match. But notice, of course, who's off laning and who's on it, right? So Orange is going to go ahead and secure that. It's a good job to Sandra's cheeky children. But there on the bottom lane, Pikachu has to deal with that Greedent who has full pockets.
Yeah, full pockets and a full mouth of berries at the moment as they're going to dunk at bottom. But overall on top, you do see the way how they're utilizing Hyperspace Hole. They're using it to either recover or get their team back to spawn immediately, which is helpful for them. They are able to apply pressure back to top and now rotating back down to help out Sandra's Chiefs here.
And definitely 1,000 Dreams. They're going to see that alert that we just saw. Professor Scam in a lot of trouble right here. That's just obviously the numbers, but also the rest of the team wasn't really there to back him up just in the nick of time, basically. It was just not in time, we could say. And so anyway, we are noticing, actually, this is before the recent patch, right? Lucario going E-Speed here in this match. And so kind of nice, because back then it probably would have been a little bit more. Usually you see the pup and the close combat and all that. So right now we do have another potential fight to come, because obviously Dreadnaw is back here on the stadium, on the map. And this is where it's going to start, right? So you got that stun from Gardevoir initiating this, and let's go.
Yeah, they're trying to get out of there. The Hyperspace Hole is not going to be able to bail them out this time. As you see Sandra's cheeky children continuing on with the pressure. Hoopa unbound this time for 1,000 Dreams, trying to get their teammates back to the fight. And Lucario is going to do that. They're continuing on the damage, and they're going to be able to get that cross hands with the last hit. Continuing to chase down Jules. And now they have to play around this. Are they going to Hyperspace Hole out? That is exactly what they're going to do. And we'll see if they come back for this, or they're just going to let this goal go.
Yeah, and this is huge. Normally you would want to wait right there, but we see the Fairy Singularity, and that's Rings Unbound. That's going to be massive damage just on top of that orange goal right now. And so really, Purple, 1,000 Dreams wanted to try to maybe see if we can just over-cap on that goal, and did not have any time. Obviously, massive pressure. So this is now Orange's chance to really push that bottom path. And of course, we may see a rotation for Rotom afterwards, but look at all the damage and the scoring that they were able to do with this. Furthering that gap, because Purple was trying to come a little bit closer in that score. But no, now we're going to see 82 to 170.
Yeah, and you could tell that Sandra's cheeky children were 100% on board with each other in that moment. The Fairy Singularity followed by the Hoops Unbound just applies so much pressure, especially when they all want to try to score. Holding them all in place and applying even more pressure, saying, if you're going to push into us, we're going to take out a couple people and apply more pressure to you guys. So now the fight is going to be rotating up to Rotom, and we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, you're going to see the Hyperspace Hole right here. That might be, sometimes I feel like that can be a little bit dangerous. If your team really knows what they're doing, it can be okay, obviously, and you got good communication. But notice Sandra's cheeky children really continuing that pressure, right? That's the word we've been using a lot here. Is this? It's been like pressure all over the place at every step of this match, and that Rotom is just going to further that. But like I was saying, just to finish that thought on Hyperspace Hole, is, you know, if you're just communicating really well, maybe this can work. But when you're just all packed tightly in that objective, in that team fight, that can make or break it, right? Because you could accidentally send somebody back, and that would be great that they're going to heal and everything, but that's time away that you're now down a player for a little while. In that team fight, that can be kind of massive.
Yeah, that could be the difference as you see this team trying to continue on with the dunks. They are going to get one of them in there, and the Hyperspace Hole not going to quite bring a ton of people back. So for the most part, they are playing it safe. You see Sandra's cheeky children playing around their front goals and playing more of a defensive Hoopa, allowing them to rotate around a lot quicker around the map as we get into this final stretch, and we have Zapdos ready.
And I wouldn't be too comfortable if I was either of these teams, right? When you look at these scores right now, they obviously don't know what the exact score is, but they're getting those alerts and things, and obviously been a mostly even game, although Sandra's cheeky children has all of their goals up here. So feels a little bit more like a stomp for them. Notice Lucario going to be down there trying to score in, which he successfully will, obviously, but now not able to help with that team fight. And there's that Rings Unbound right here. So hopefully can use those portals. This is just where we see those Unite moves fly, typically. You know, we've got that Verdant Anger. Everybody's throwing it down, trying to win this team fight desperately. And look at this. Now Sandra's cheeky children down. And then we have actually Purple. That's going to be kind of an even number of people down on each team. And just hopefully somebody can make something happen here, because you're not going to have a huge window of time.
Yeah, and you see that, oh, the Hyperspace Hole going to be able to get him out in full HP, getting ready to come back into this fight. with 45 seconds left, there's not a lot of time to really deal with Zapdos. So teams might just start sprinting towards the goal. And with that front goal, the first one cashed in by Crosshands TV, it's going to be really interesting to see how Sandra Cheeks is going to reply back to this, respond back with not having enough time to really secure down Zapdos.
That's right. Like, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was thinking about that, and at first I thought maybe that was the wrong move of Lucario, you know, Crosshands CTV. That might actually be the move that saves them, but look at Sandra's cheeky children. They don't have that much time, but a Greedent coveting through can maybe do this in that last 10 seconds because the goals are charged. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. We're going to see a 52 for purple, but then Greedent going to throw down that hundo right here. Hundo burgers all around for Sandra's cheeky children. Hundo's in there. Kanashii, I think that actually is going to go to Sandra's cheeky children, but what are your thoughts? We got to see this breakdown.
Yeah, this is going to be really close, but I do think that they didn't get it. There was not enough time.
Well, what happened? So that is Sandra's cheeky children.
Oh, wait, no, that is correct.
You see what I'm talking about? You know, sometimes in spectator mode, that it gets weird because if you're spectating the other team, right, so that would be the orange team in this case, they then become the purple team if it ends on them. And so that is sort of that weird, like, anticlimactic caster's moment or confusion moment. So yes, we don't want to confuse the viewers. That will be Sandra's cheeky children at 370 to 248.
Yeah, they desperately needed that Zapdos in order to go their way, and they needed to cash in on it. And you saw Sandra Cheeks along with their Venusaur running immediately to the goals. Those are the two characters that you have on your team that for sure guarantee that they have like speed to get there without having to rely on helping hand. So it was really close overall, and I am glad that we got to see that matchup.
Very nice. So clutch at the zap. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think in the comments. But before you go, Kanashii, can you please tell the people where we can find you? YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everything.
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on YouTube for more Pokemon Unite content, I usually do Poke Concepts and Unite Tonight work. Feel free to follow that channel. There's a lot of really fun content there. If you guys want to hear everything that's going on with me, I am on Twitch at Kanashii GG. And for Twitter, it's Kanashii_GG. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to, and hopefully you get to hear us on future casts, hopefully sooner than later.
Absolutely right. Be looking for Victory Road Unite. Of course, we're always there together for that one. But ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure here having Kanashii back on the channel. Everybody, feel free to click an end screen on screen, and thanks for viewing.